Let's see, 63. I don't think we had a color TV in 1963. Okay, I mean, their color TVs were there, but they were expensive. So, I mean, students look at me and say, how could you not live, how could you live with a black and white TV, you know?
Oh God, mini skirts and boots and in the early 70s and afros, and I remember being stopped for my past when I was a young teacher, and they said, what are you dressed like that for?
Well, I remember wearing dresses and high heels when I started teaching at Woodside High School. And I also remember that there was one teacher that was sent home for wearing pants.
When I went to school here, nobody could wear shorts. I mean, except during PE. Imagine that. Of course, we didn't have cell phones either.
When I started, it was polyester. It was the polyester days.
I remember another parent one time getting really worried. It was like the beginning of, I don't know, maybe the early 80s. Guys are wearing earrings, and I said, oh, and the nose ring like that girl over there? And she said, yeah. She said, that's really scary. And I said, well, that happens to be the valedictorian. And she went, oh my God, really? She goes, is this just fashion? I said, yeah. Fashion changes, and kids at heart, I think, are really basically the same. They want good things for themselves.
It's a big difference between my high school experience in 1990, 1991, and the high school experience of 2008, 2009. That being, high schools are sort of forced to expand or broaden our scope of responsibilities. We are not only an academic institution, but we're also a social services institution. We're really looking at the whole child.
In 1958, they broke the grounds here. Class sizes are probably about 400, but believe it or not very diverse. It was an interesting time back then. In 1964, as you know, society back then was also at an unrest.
When I started at Woodside High School, there was one African-American student in the student body, and that was it. Everybody else was white.
I would say it was almost segregated. I was one of the very few Asian students that went through. My family and my cousins went through here too. So we made up just about all the Asian population. I remember one football game where unfortunately a rival school, we had a bit of a riot.
It quickly became apparent, I think, to us that there was a huge discrepancy between white students arriving on campus in their cars, parking in the parking lot, and students of color arriving on buses.
When we started busing East Palo Alto students to the other schools in the district, that really made a difference in the school, and it was a culture shock for some. It was a culture shock for some of the African American students as well as for the white students, because they had not really seen each other much before, nor had anything to do with each other, you know, and didn't know quite how to react. So it was a real learning experience in a lot of ways, and we all had to be actively engaged in making sure that the students who got bused in felt welcome and integrated into the school community at Woodside, and that the students at Woodside were accepting.
I would talk with, you know, friends who went to very prestigious private schools, and we had a fundamental difference to how we saw the world. And I can't help but think that that has part to do with the real class dynamic of every group being represented. And that is such a valuable experience.